a very special edition of Diaspora Weekly, and I'm joined by my dear sister, Dr. Arikana. Wow. Well, welcome. Diaspora
Thank
Weekly
you. Thank
is
you.
the home, and we're always lucky to have you. I want to start with, I know that you have an announcement, and we're eager to hear that. But, you know, around the continent, you're the ultimate Pan-African. If you look around the continent, Ethiopia, what's going on there?
Well, I tell you, tribalism continues to be a serious issue, but also we have to be realistic about outside interference. So for Africa, I always say, when you hear any instability anywhere, you must always look for the story behind the story. So it's a complicated issue. It's a complicated story.
But this has happened at the seat of the AU. And is there some things going on behind the scene that we don't know? I would think that AU would be all over it, considering that it's right there in their backyard.
Well, you would hope so, but I'm not privy to what they're doing behind the scenes. I would hope they're doing something. But if the history tells us in terms of previous areas of conflict and instability, not so sure how successful the African Union has been in trying to resolve some of those issues. So the continent remains a serious challenge, really.
Okay. And then let's move from Ethiopia. I don't know if you heard this, but a 13-year-old young boy in Burkina Faso shot down a French drone with a slingshot. Did you hear that?
He shot down what now?
A French drone.
Uh-huh.
A 13-year-old boy, French drone, and they were protesting because there was a French convoy going through Burkina Faso on the way to Niger. They reached a town of Kaya, and the people blocked them, saying, "No, you are the ones supplying arms to the jihadists, so we won't let." It became a big thing. So the French army deployed a drone up to try and ascertain, after they've even shot warning shots into the sky, into the air. It didn't help matter. So they deployed a drone to look at the whole scenario. And one 13-year-old boy took a slingshot and shot the drone.
I did not hear about that. Kudos to him. That is too funny.
And the boy, they're calling him the David versus Goliath. So
that is so true.
What message do you have for this young man?
I think I actually have a message to the French to say, please listen up. Africa is waking up. This is a new day. The young people in Africa are not taking it anymore. So the sooner you come to the table and treat Africa right, the better off you're going to be. You can no longer continue to play the same old game with the same old raggedy rules. It is time for change. So the French people, the French government, President Macron, listen up, pay attention. The children of Africa are talking to you. I hope you can hear them.
Very good. And then back in the East, in Sudan, the first time there was a coup, a president get overthrown and then reinstated. What happened there?
That's interesting. Well, that just means negotiations are working. So whatever the outcome is, the fact that they're talking and they're coming to a resolution, that's a good thing. The conversations are working, the negotiations are working. So I think that's a good thing, the fact that they were able to come to a resolution of some sort.
Very good. And finally, back in West Africa, in Guinea, General Mamadou Doumbia has now appointed a civilian prime minister and a civilian government. But guess what? He took all of them to military training, and now the dress code for the government officials is military fatigue. What do you think of that?
Well, it's not so much what clothes you're wearing. It's really what's within your heart and what all your abilities are in terms of truly representing the people. The clothes don't really mean much. It's what you are capable of doing. And are you ready to truly represent the needs of the people? That's what really matters the most.
Okay, so in this case, should he or should he not? I mean, what do you think of? It seems like you're forcing people to wear something they don't want to wear. Like you said, what's in the heart is what matters. So why did he have to put military fatigues on them?
To be honest with you, it's such a non-issue. I don't think people should really spend time talking about what dress code the government people have. There are more important issues to discuss than a dress code, honestly. Let's not waste time on that.
Very good. All right, now ADDI, a lot is going on. What's going on with ADDI, African Diaspora Development Institute?
We are so excited. We have almost 160 diaspora, the majority from the United States. And then we have a significant number from Europe, South America, and the Caribbean. We are going to be descending upon Ghana. Arrival is December 3rd and departure is December 13th. So we are coming for the groundbreaking ceremony for the Wakanda One City of Return, and also a trade fair from December 6th to December 9th. So it's really going to be an exciting time. We're bringing the children of Africa because we want them to see for themselves why the rest of the world is coming to Africa. For far too long, we have been lied to and told to stay away from Africa because it is a diseased and dying continent. Through the trade fair, we are letting the children of Africa know that Africa is yours, that Africa is full of opportunities that are making the world, and I mean the world, run to Africa in masses, except the children of Africa, who are the inheritors of what Africa has. So the trade fair is going to showcase what Africa has, starting with Ghana. There will be many, many more trips where we are showcasing the opportunities that Africa has throughout the continent.
Very good. So I know you've been trying to amass, galvanize the African diaspora community for the longest. And it is so exciting to hear. How many are you bringing?
160.
160 people of African
diaspora professionals and businesses, yes.
Wow. And you looked around the continent and you chose
Ghana. But the reason we actually ended up with Ghana, if you remember, initially, the first Wakanda One City of Return was supposed to be built around the Victoria Falls on the Zambian side as well as the Zimbabwe side. But the Kingdom of Asebu, they reached out to us and invited us to come join them in realizing the Wakanda One City of Return, which is something that the president of Ghana, President Nana Addo, had wanted as a follow-up to the Year of Return 2019. Okay. So we really feel blessed and honored that the Kingdom of Asebu has reached out to us and invited us to come join them. They've given us 5,040 acres of land, to which we're hoping to build the first Wakanda One City of Return.
So tell us about Wakanda. What does the name mean?
Wakanda, actually, it's actually coming from the famous movie, Black Panther. And so it's a catchy name, and it has a lot of significance because the movie itself captured the essence of the Africa that was. It captured the essence of the Africa that is, the Africa that somehow we failed to recognize that this is an incredible continent, which really is the beginning, the middle, and the end of what the world should be.
Wow. And a lot is happening in Ghana here. Google moved in, Twitter moved in, and now you guys, you're bringing, the number is blowing my mind, 160. How do you come up with all these professionals? Put them all together.
On our website, we've been raising. ADDI has grown in leaps and bounds. We have a membership of over 100,000 diaspora from around the world. We have very large numbers of professionals. We are now divided into a very strong healthcare sector with thousands of diaspora healthcare professionals. We have the agriculture sector, again, thousands, hundreds of thousands of agriculturalists. We have a very strong educational sector, very strong mining sector, very strong manufacturing, very strong IT. So we have really, really organized. We put out the call. We told the diaspora, the building of the Africa we want is our responsibility, ours and ours alone. We also made it very clear and made a case to the African diaspora that if we do not join our brothers and sisters on the continent, the building of a sustainable Africa will always be but a dream. We also made a case to the diaspora that whether we like it or not, the reality on the ground is No amount of money put into Africa for healthcare, for education, for agriculture is going to deliver the results that we want. Why? The capacity that is required is simply not there. To put things in perspective, if all the African diaspora doctors from around the world were to go to Africa today, we are lucky if we make about 40% of the need. Africa today needs about 1.4 million doctors. We're nowhere near. We don't even have 500,000. Ghana, for example, Google it. How many neurosurgeons are in Ghana? It's about 15. 15 neurosurgeons to service 31 million people. How insane is that? You have ridiculous numbers like that, where you have a country that have one doctor for 100,000 people. But that's the reality in Africa. So how do you improve healthcare? How do you improve education when the educators are all outside Africa? That is the case we made to the African diaspora, to say the reality is we, the ones to whom much is given, much is expected. We have a responsibility to look back and join our brothers and sisters on the continent and build a sustainable Africa. Capacity building is where it begins, which is why the Wakanda One City of Return is going to be pillared on education and training and training and training the capacity that is needed. Short of doing that, Africa is going to be built by others who have no intentions of bringing sustainability. It's going to be built by those whose only objective is to extract what they can extract out of Africa, something they have done for centuries.
Okay, so now you build them by bringing 160 people on this trip, and the number that you've been able to galvanize on the ADDI website, it is clear that the African diaspora is responding to your call. Now, what about those at home? I know for this trip to have happened, you must have had very good, collaboration with the locals in Ghana. But the story is not always the same. So how were you able to pull that off?
Well, as far as the diaspora are concerned, the majority of the professionals who are members of ADDI, they're able people. So this trip was not cheap. It's about $4,000 per person, to cover the ticket and the accommodation and all that. So you're looking at people who have the means, the people who are able. And as far as the situation on the ground, being that we were invited by the Kingdom of Asebu, a lot of the groundwork was done by the kingdom. And then to put an end and wrap things up, we're now working with the Department of the Diaspora in the President's office. And so they've identified departments that we need to be in touch with, and all that is being done. But the initial preliminary work was done through the Kingdom of Asebu, since they are the ones who are inviting us. Okay, so what should we expect upon your arrival? Upon our arrival on the 4th, we are having a dinner where we are going to be welcomed by the Gamanse. He has accepted our invitation. So we'll have a dinner in Accra. And then after that, of course, the diaspora different sector leaders are going to showcase and present to him what we would like to see in Wakanda City. And then on the 5th, we are going to move on to Cape Coast. And of course, we are going to we're going to have dinner at the Asebu Kingdom, where the King of Asebu is going to preside over a naming ceremony for those who have gotten their DNA testing done. So we are looking forward to that. A lot of people have gotten their DNA testing through African Ancestry DNA. And then, of course, Monday, that's when we launch the trade fair. And that's going to start with, we're hoping to get the Minister of Trade, and followed by a couple of diaspora businesses to present, and a local diaspora, can also present one sector leader, ADDI sector leader, to talk about their sector and what they plan to do in the Wakanda One City of Return. And then the following day, each day for the next 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the day begins with a keynote speaker, followed by a sector presentation by an ADDI member, followed by featuring two businesses, one Ghanaian business and one diaspora business to showcase their work. So that's how the day is going to go. From 7 to 9 is breakfast, 9 to 10:30 presentations, 10:30 to 4 p.m. the exhibit halls are open. But while the exhibits are going on, we are having bilateral meetings between the healthcare sector is going to be meeting with doctors at the Cape Coast Hospital. We have a strong nursing team that's going to be meeting with the nurses at the nursing school. We have our IT department as well as engineering are going to be meeting with the engineers from the city of Cape Coast just to see the relationship that's going to be created between Cape Coast, the city itself, and the Kingdom of Faso, and how there could be some collaborations in terms of services and how we can also help them improve what they have currently while we improve what we're going to be doing in the city of Wakanda 1, city of return. Our agricultural sector, we have been given what is called the Kwame Nkrumah farm, from what I'm told it's not really in a good shape. They're going to be assessing that, but agriculture has chosen to address the issue of chickens in Ghana. When they found out that 70% of chickens consumed in the Ghanaian kitchens are imported, they decided we are chicken eaters as Black people around the world. So they are on a mission to start a very large poultry farming. They need 500,000. They already have that money to get that farm started. So they're going to be looking at how does the farm look like? Do we need to revamp that, or do we need to just go on and start afresh? So a lot of it is exploration. The engineers are going to be looking at the 5,000 acres plus the 40 acres that the Kingdom of Faso has identified for us that's on the beachfront. And they're going to be looking at all that to see how we have our preliminary designs. Then they're going to now to look at the land and see how it's all going to work out. So the engineers are going to spend quite a bit of time on the land trying to see how we can continue to carry the conversation forward. So it's really a trip to not only showcase to the diaspora what Ghana has to offer, and also allow the Chamber of Commerce to showcase to the diaspora what they have to offer, but also for the diaspora to then begin to dig in and see how we can take the conversation about the construction of the Wakanda 1 city of return. So it's a dual trip with dual missions, and we're hoping to accomplish all that in the 10 days that we're going to be in Ghana.
Wow. It looks like this is going to be, anybody on your trip that's looking to come have fun and just relax and take in the beach will be disappointed. It looks like this is going to be a lot of work.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think some of the activities include candlelight vigil to the dungeons. They call them castles. We're going to have three very important dinners. The first one is our launch of the youth program, where we are giving $100,000 to the program, starting with no interest loans to youth. The loans are a maximum of $1,000. We also have another $100,000, which we're launching during the women's event. The women's event, the keynote speaker is the former president of Malawi, Joyce Banda. The youth event is our very own Professor Lumumba. So we're going to be launching those funds, and our hope is to continue to fundraise and continue to encourage young people and women to continue to innovate and get involved as entrepreneurs. We feel very strongly that we can bring economic development in leaps and bounds if we can support the youth and the women.
Wow, $1,000 minimum and about 100,000. What's the criteria? I'm a youth. Don't I look young? Do I qualify?
I have a feeling that train has left you. The train left the station before you arrived. You missed it. But we are working with the Queen Mothers as well as the chiefs to help us identify people in their kingdoms who could benefit from these programs. There's also going to be a Daba, which is going to take place on the 10th. We have 6 diaspora. 3 men are going to be installed as Queen Mothers as well as chiefs. So that's another very exciting program. And then we have an awards dinner, which is going to be on Saturday, where the diaspora are going to have an opportunity to dine with the royals. It's going to be quite a few chiefs and Queen Mothers We're going to come in their regalia, and we're all going to have a wonderful time together in Cape Coast. So we have really just amazing program laid out, and we're looking forward to it.
As the national regulator of the communications industry in Ghana, the National Communications Authority seeks to ensure an environment that is safe and fair for consumers and service providers. NCA grants licenses and authorizations for operation of communication systems and services, develops guidelines to streamline communication activities, establish and monitor quality of service indicators for operators and service providers. NCA is in 8 regions: Accra, Tamale, Takoradi, Kumasi, Ho, Koforidua, Sunyani, and Bolgatanga. Do you have unresolved complaints with your service providers? Contact us on 0800110662, 0307011419 between the hours of 8 o'clock a.m. and 5 o'clock p.m. from Monday to Friday, or visit our website at www.nca.org.gh and follow the procedure for filing a complaint or submitting enquiry. National Communications Authority, communications for development.
I mean, you've described so much work. We haven't even touched on the city itself, the city of Wakanda. What dreams do you have for the city?
The phase 1 of Wakanda is going to start with the resort community, which is going to be on the 40 acres. There'll be hotels and chalets and restaurants and gift shops and water sports. And then behind it, it's going to be the residential community with about 1,000 homes and apartments and condominiums. That's all part of phase 1. Phase 1 also, we are working with a company that has these modular hospitals that are very modern with the latest techniques and procedures that we were quite impressed about what they have to offer. They're actually coming to meet us in Ghana. We're going to be looking at, I'm waiting to see it. They tell me we can have a 200-bed hospital up and running in less than a year. Oh, they're coming to meet us in Ghana, and I can't wait to see. I've seen videos, I've seen some of the work that they have done. If we can bring that to Ghana, again, we know that we can find that funding for that very easily because it's not very expensive. So we're looking at having a hospital which is going to center on procedures that are making Ghanaians go overseas for healthcare. Our healthcare sector has looked at reasons why Ghanaians are going overseas. They're looking at an average of about 5,000 Ghanaians leave Ghana every month for overseas healthcare. Our healthcare sector is saying that is insanity. It has to stop. So we are hoping by mobilizing the diaspora specialists, we can begin to offer some of those services. We will line up the diaspora professionals to come in. If it's 2 weeks, if it's 1 month, if it's a year, whatever time you have, we have enough of those that hospital should be staffed with the latest, with the best surgeons, the best doctors that the world has to offer from the diaspora. So we have a plan for that. And so hospital is going to be part of phase 1. A university is going to be part of phase 1. The university is going to be virtual for phase 1. Again, like we say, it is about capacity building. So education, virtual university, phase 1. Manufacturing. Our mining and manufacturing sector, they concluded that spare parts is a multi-billion-dollar business in Africa. Lots of equipment are lying fallow because of a tiny little part that is not available that's supposed to come from abroad. So with that expertise, they are going to be using scrap metal to manufacture spare parts. They're going to, of course, expand from that, but our industrial park is going to be anchored on manufacture of small parts and drones. Why drones? Because they realized that drones, when they looked at what Rwanda has done during pandemic, where they used drones to provide food and medical supplies to remote parts of the country that were not accessible by land, that became a very popular and innovative way of addressing the needs of the people. We want to expand and introduce drone technology. So they're going to be manufacturing different kinds of drones. but also we are going to have an innovation center. We realize talent is equally distributed throughout the world. Africa is no different. We have a lot of talent that needs to be developed. We simply need to nurture it. We've already identified through our IT department quite a large number of young African youth innovators. So we want to give them a home, put in the innovation center basic equipment that they need in order for them to do the innovative work that they know what to do best. I think it's a travesty that we cannot nurture our talent, create an environment for our children who are talented, who have this God-given gift. We want them to utilize this God-given gift and begin to create products that are designed to improve our way of life, not products that we acquire, but designed to improve other people's way of life. So innovation of products that are designed to improve African way of life, products that will meet our circumstances, products that are designed for us, by us. So the Innovation Center is going to be an integral part of what we are going to be doing. Also, as part of phase one, we're going to have a business development center. We're hoping to work with the Chamber of Commerce in Cape Coast to continue to say, even those young people we are giving the loans, they will be mentored. They will be partnered with the diaspora in that particular field of study. The same thing is with the women. We're going to give them mentors, but more importantly, we need to help them, train them, and assist them to make sure that they succeed at that which we are funding them to do. So the Business Development Center is going to be also part of what we're going to be doing on phase one.
Wow. You know, in Africa, when a plan is so ambitious, historically, the chance of all these actually manifesting is less than about 10%. We've seen ambitious plans announced, government is going to do this all over, and then you sit down, you fold your arms, and you're waiting. Why is ADDI's ambitious plan different?
Because we're not government. We're private sector. We don't sit back and fold our arms. If we were not going to roll up our sleeves and work, we wouldn't waste our time even coming to Ghana. We don't have time for that. I'm a medical doctor. We don't play games. We want results. Either we act or we don't. There is no in between. We're here to work. We're here to roll our sleeves. I can tell you the majority of people in ADDI is not about money. We have been blessed in so many different ways. We are here to make a difference. We watch TV, we see the carnage, we see the suffering in Africa. How can we sit back in the diaspora, enjoy the lives that we lead, and not feel the responsibility to make a difference? You will find that the ADDI team, they're people who don't care about returns. Yes, we will work on returns for our investors, but the average ADDI, we understand what we're doing. It's not about us. It's about generations. It's about our children, grandchildren, and generations to come. It's about saying we are the generation that's going to turn the corner. We can no longer expect others to build our Africa. It is actually insulting, in a way, when you see what is happening, to see a Chinese prisoner come to Africa with nothing. In a couple of years, they're millionaires. There's something terribly wrong with that picture. We can no longer continue to be treated as people who are incapable of taking care of ourselves. We are extremely capable of taking care of ourselves. And as African diaspora, we are saying, we know if we create those meaningful collaborations, those meaningful unities of purpose with our brothers and sisters on the continent, we can build the Africa that we want. We can build that Africa, recreate that Africa that was. I have no doubt in my mind that when we set our mind to it, just like the Chinese diaspora did 40 years ago, just like the Indian diaspora have done 40 years ago, just like the Irish diaspora have done, we too can build the Africa that we want. There's absolutely no reason why we cannot. The only thing that's needed is that our minds need to be in the right place. That's it.
You know, you and I are on this same page look, what you said, those words have come out of my mouth the same way we can do it. But the reality, though, is that Chinese prisoner that came here with nothing and is now a millionaire he gets doors open for him. He gets the red carpets rolled out for him. Do you have the same thing rolled out for you?
Well, I think what it is, in all honesty, as African diaspora, we have not created that unity of purpose. I was watching the news with the Afghanistan situation. When the Taliban took over, one of the very first departments they opened was the Department of the Afghan Diaspora. Why did they do that? I thought that was quite interesting because they understood that they need the diaspora to come back. Everybody else understands, all other countries understand the importance of the diaspora. We have not created that meaningful unity of purpose. But a lot of it also goes back to, we're only looking at Ghanaians, we're only looking at Nigerians, we're only looking at Kenyans. Everybody is operating in small silos. Those are small countries that simply cannot survive on our own. What is needed is a continental approach. What you'll find is, of the 160 people who are coming to Ghana, about 25% are Ghanaians. The rest are coming from all over Africa. They're coming from all over the world. Because as ADDI, we are saying we're Africans first, and where we were born secondarily. And that is the gospel that we preach. The gospel of unity, the gospel of saying we were intentionally divided, we were intentionally brainwashed. The onus is on us to undo the damage. And we undo the damage through knowledge, through continued discussions, through continued reminding ourselves and each other that unity of purpose is our only survival. And that's what we preach at ADDI.
Very good. Is Ghana, no, Ghana is the first destination in this. Is that the only destination?
No, actually, we're looking at Kenya for the Wakanda City of Return for East Africa. And of course, Zimbabwe and Zambia around the Victoria Falls for the Wakanda City of Return for Southern Africa. We have not identified a country yet for Central Africa and for North Africa.
Okay, and you see your affinity. I know you're married to my brother from Ghana, so but did that play a role in why Ghana? Because I've known you to be continental. I mean, in everything you do, you look at the entire continent, and so now, and you're originally from Zimbabwe, but you didn't choose Zimbabwe first like most people would have done. You chose Ghana. Is this a way of saying that when it comes to Africa, countries don't matter?
Absolutely, absolutely. I see myself as an African first, and I'm Ghanaian and Zimbabwean secondarily. Okay. Now, I do not see myself as a country first. I'm an African, a very proud one, and that's what I claim.
That's good. All right, and so now, what can we look forward? I mean, if I walk into, when you close your eyes and you look at the city of Wakanda, right? When phase 1 is completed, what does it look like? Give us a peek into it.
I wish I'd brought some of the designs of the buildings and the houses, and the architects are doing some very crazy, interesting. They're coming up with some crazy, interesting ideas. My favorite one. If they have their wishes, the business district is going to look like a jungle with high-rise buildings that look like a giraffe. And
okay.
Yeah, so they're coming up with just exceptionally creative ideas. It's a lot of fun listening to them deliberate and coming up with ideas. It's just an interesting group of guys that fun-loving and very creative and very experienced. And they're looking to building something that they've always dreamt about. And now they have an opportunity to actually put it into practice. I too can't wait to see what the engineers and architects are going to come up with.
I want to go into a bit of a touchy subject here, but a project this ambitious and this grand and this Pan-African shouldn't, shouldn't the AU be embracing this?
Are you kidding me? If they have embraced anything, if they could have done it all these years since 1963. So I think the AU implementation is where the problem falls in. If you do an analysis of all the decisions that have ever been made by the African heads of states, many beautiful decisions were agreed upon by the African heads of states. Where we fall short is implementation, and that falls squarely on the lap of the African Union Commission chair. That's who is responsible for implementation. As a matter of fact, forget what ADDI is doing. Look at the African Continental Free Trade Area. How are we going to implement such a monster? Is AU even looking to say we need diaspora to come in? What are they doing to bring this expertise that is there and ready? They're not reaching out. When I was at the mission, they destroyed anything I did to try and bring diaspora together and create that cohesion to make it easy for AU to be able to tap into the diaspora. I don't think the AU Commission chair gets it. And I'm sorry to say, but it's just the truth. The implementation for the African Continental Free Trade Area is not going to work unless the children of Africa in the diaspora come and join the brothers and sisters on the continent. If we do not do that, Africa is going to be built by those who seek to exploit us and destroy us and keep us where they want us to be. It's sad, but that is our reality.
Anyway, well, I would like to commend you for, when it comes to diaspora and re-engagement into the continent, you are at DNT are in lockstep. And so this project is something that's a natural marriage with what DNT is all about. So
let me tell you something too, my brother. People are saying, well, but that is so ambitious. There's nothing ambitious about what we're trying to do. Take, for example, right now, actively working on the hospital with over 400 doctors. Actively working. And then we have over another 800 that we can tap into. So expertise is not a problem. And that's without us even calling for them. Educators, same thing. Agriculture, same thing. So when you look at the pool of people who are ready to jump in and do the part, that's nothing. Whereas governments in Africa cannot do that. They cannot pull the expertise that we can pull as ADDI.
Yeah.
So the governments can come up with their ideas, but the reality is they don't have the expertise. They come up with plans, but if they don't have the people to execute, it's only going to be a plan on a piece of paper. Ours is a totally different situation. If I need an expertise, all I have to do is push an email. In fact, I'll be inundated with more people wanting to help. That is what we have been able to accomplish as ADDI, to really have that outreach, create a community of people, an ecosystem of people who understand that ask not what Africa has done for you, but what you have done for Africa. That we have succeeded at doing.
Wow. And you mentioned that the 160 that are coming with you, their own personal investment, they're not really, it's not about recouping massive return. It's about giving back to the continent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How did you sell that to them?
Speaking the truth, telling them the truth that they did not know. It's amazing how much people did not understand Africa. If you take, for example, when I spoke about the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization, that one was a shocker. Most people were not aware something so terrible. Almost 100% of the time when I would speak, people were not aware. So being able to open people's eyes by just telling them that truth, telling them that, are you aware that Egypt is sending $7 billion to farmers in Ohio, in the United States, for wheat? And are you okay with that? Are you aware that many countries in Africa, 100% of their chickens are imported from Belgium, from South America, from China? Are you okay with that? Chickens alone is a multi-billion-dollar business. You can invest in chickens in Africa and sit back and play golf wherever you live in the diaspora while your money is working for you. But at the same time, you're creating jobs for your brothers and sisters. Are you aware that 100% of the rice and wheat consumed in many African countries is imported? Are you okay with that? What stops you from being that investor? 300,000 is all you're going to need to change the rice farming in Ghana. Do you have a problem coming up with 300,000? I can tell you right now, we have mobilized so much that if I call for diaspora to fundraise for 300,000 to invest in a rice project in Ghana, I'll get that money in a couple of days.
Wow.
Because they understand the importance of playing your part. And I'm telling everybody, if we're going to invest in anything, invest money that you don't even care about. Enough people with $1,000, we got it. And that's really what we're calling for. Money that we in the diaspora consider pocket change. We're saying, take your pocket change, let's pull it together and make a difference for our brothers and sisters on the continent. They get it. they get it.
Okay.
And I'm challenging them and say, don't complain about poor healthcare in your country like my brothers and sisters from Ghana. I said, there are more of us in New York City alone than in the entire country of Ghana, doctors. So when you complain about poor healthcare in Ghana, it's because the doctors are not there. So let's be realistic. ADDI is bringing common sense, facts, and really continuously exposing the diaspora about what is really going on in Africa, and refuse to be thrown a shiny object and after the shining object when the real fact are in the opposite direction, which is what we have done, or rather, which is what has been done to us for centuries. That has got to change. ADDI, we are changing that paradigm. There's a paradigm shift, and we're teaching and educating the people about what is really going on in Africa. The diaspora are finding it quite refreshing, and they appreciate it. And that's why they don't mind even donating to ADDI.
So what if your example, your result is so clear and glaring that with an overture, with frank overture to the African diaspora, you'll respond positively? Why is it so difficult for the respective countries to make same overtures to their respective diaspora so that they can respond as they have responded to you?
Well, I think that's another one that we're working on. When I used to speak, the first question invariably was always, Ambassador, but the African heads of states are corrupt and the African leaders are corrupt. And I would respond by saying, tell me what country that doesn't have corrupt people. But that does not stop us from doing the right thing, because 2 out of 10 are corrupt people, because 3 out of 10 are corrupt people. We factor that into consideration. We know humanity, there are going to be some bad apples among us, but we don't stop doing the right thing because of a few bad apples. So as governments, they are just viewed with suspicion. People just have been burned so many times. People have heard a lot of stories, but sometimes too, the stories are not all very true, and our limited understanding of what is really going on. So like I used an example of the 14 Francophone countries. If the 500 billion that's coming out of West Africa could just be kept in West Africa, the leaders who are stealing can double what they're stealing. There's still enough money for everybody. You see what I'm saying? So let's be realistic here. There is a lot of corruption in the West, but because they are large economies, they can absorb that corruption. Yeah. Now, Africa, we are being looted to the max. Then whatever is left, so if anybody else tries to loot out of that, there's not much left. Exactly. So let's look at, rather than complain about the 50 billion coming out of Africa from corruption, that is what the watchdogs say, compared to the 500 billion taken by France every year, what are you doing about the 500 billion taken by France? In fact, people are not aware, in spite of France having ratified a law last May to say African countries no longer need to send their bank reserves to France, the financial flows are still happening.
Wow.
Why? Yes, they have not changed, because the systems that were put in place were never dismantled. So yes, African countries are still sending their money to France.
And after the big announcement that now they don't have to do it. Wow.
They're still doing it. The monies are still going. Yes, nothing has changed. People are not aware of that. Again, it's ADDI, we're educating people. Nothing has changed.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? You gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you glow. Anytime, anywhere.
Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
If you have chalked up this result with galvanizing the diaspora, maybe if the heads of state or the governments are being viewed with suspicion by the members of the African diaspora, you would think that these governments will hide behind you and just give you a push to do the work for them. Is something like that happening?
Well, I think on our end, we are simply saying the reason the Chinese are coming into Africa and getting away with what they're getting away with is because they are organized, they are coming with their finances. We as diaspora, we must also, rather than play defense, we must play offense. When we organize and we can go to the African heads of states and let them know that we are now organized, so any contracts that you deem international, we would appreciate it if you could reach out to the African diaspora first. When they know that we are organized, when they know that we have our own finances, I can assure you, they will give us those contracts. The reason the Chinese are taking those contracts is because we are not there to take those contracts. We want electricity in the villages where our grandparents live, but we're not ready to pull our funds together and build that power plant. And when the Chinese build the power plant, we complain. But when there's no electricity in that village because the Chinese didn't get the contract, we complain. It's like diaspora wake up. Are you even making any sense? You don't want to build the power plant. You don't want to pull funds to build the power plant, but you don't want the Chinese to build the power plant. Does that even make sense? So as ADDI, we have those realistic conversations where we say, stop, look at the image in the mirror, answer those questions. Who do you think is going to bring electricity to your grandmother's village if you don't do it?
Okay. Well, I tell you what, when it comes to capacity, I can tell you a gentleman, a Ghanaian who lives in Tampa, Florida, who designed the Tampa International Airport. Yeah. There is an architect, Ajay, who's been knighted in UK. And this man, I think he built the Black Smithsonian or something in Washington, I forgot. So the capacity is there. But why is it that we don't get these people, the governments don't reach out to them, but you're saying that we need to organize first before they see us? It seems to me if you're looking for your own, it will be easier to find than looking for the Chinese or the Europeans. Are the standards different? Why do
but you have to but you have to realize that we have one issue that other diaspora don't have to deal with. We have been seriously brainwashed. Seriously brainwashed. We need to understand that the phenomenon of the legacy of slavery and the legacy of colonization is real. And so when I talk about we need to have a serious conversation with the image in the mirror, I mean precisely that. We do some of the dumbest things as Black people when it comes to our relationships with others who don't look like us. The unfounded fear of our Caucasian brothers and sisters, our failure to look them in the face and demand that they do what's right. If I may give you an example of something that just burns me up. Today, as we speak, thousands of remains, body parts of our ancestors are in jars in basements throughout Europe. Why have we not succeeded at demanding that they be returned for proper burial? Thousands of priceless artifacts are littering museums throughout Europe. Many more are in basements. Why haven't our ministers of culture collectively come together and told Europe once and for all, we are not going to engage you until this wrong is righted? Why haven't the ministers of finance gone to the World Bank and challenged them and said, look at how much these loans have been paid a gazillion times over? They know the truth. World Bank knows it, IMF knows it, the ministers know it. Why haven't we said we are not engaging you anymore? We are not paying for these loans because they have been paid a gazillion times over. I could go on and on and on. Things that we should stand up, united as Africans, and challenge the West. We are not doing it out of fear. What are we afraid of? It goes back to the brainwashing. It goes back to where we were automatically trained and programmed to feel inferior, and also believe that what the West does is better and that what we do is not as good and is not as desirable. So we have some work to do, and that means a serious conversation with the image in the mirror.
Well, on that note, I would like to thank you, and I can't wait to see you in Ghana. When I got to the States, I tried to come over on a visit, and you know what happened with Southwest Airlines, but
I know.
over. And
but you know what? I'm so glad you didn't come, because you'd have been stuck with me for another week, which would have been fine with me.
If it wasn't for the fact that I was scheduled to fly back to Ghana probably within about what, 5 days, it wouldn't have been a problem with me.
It would have been wonderful. You know, it would have been wonderful, yes. But there's always the next time. There's always the next time.
All right. Well, have a safe flight home to Ghana with your delegation, and we'll be here waiting for you, and we can't wait.
Absolutely. I would like to invite everybody who is in Ghana to join us in Cape Coast at the Wakanda City of Return Trade Expo, December 6th to December 9th. We're so looking forward to seeing all of you as we bring our children of Africa to our beloved country of Ghana.
I almost forgot about your book launch. Tell us about it.
Well, actually, that one, I'm donating all the proceeds to, apparently there are some young people who need to participate in soccer. We are looking at, hopefully, one of these days, Africa can also, hold a World Cup. We had one in South Africa, but I think the next one is in Qatar, I believe. We would like to have as many young people, because normally it's always sad, you see where the Africa section is hardly any people. And so I was talking to Advocate
Safa Bresa.
Yes, and we said, something needs to be done. We need to have a section that is full of Africans with all kinds of African flags being displayed. And so he came up with the idea of the book. By the book, every proceed for that book launch is going to the soccer young people, to the youth. We want to sponsor as many young people to go to Qatar as possible. So yes, the book is my way of giving to the youth so they can go and support and begin to represent Africa like they always do such a great job.
Guess what? I was going to surprise you, because he just left this office when this interview delayed. He was sitting right here.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That would have been a great surprise.
He's one fearless young man. I told him one day, I said, Advocate, I don't want to pick a fight with you. He's like a leash. When he holds on, he does not let go. So he is so much into the soccer and the youth, something that I'm very proud of him for doing, because our youth really need something to hold on to, something to bring them together. But more importantly, I think if we can use the youth to represent Africa in the global stage, starting with soccer, it cannot get any better than that.
And I think he came here to talk about that particular thing you're saying, and also he's a vision of how we can use sports and the support and his group to unite Africa even more. So, hey,
absolutely.
When it comes to that, we're all on the same page. Thank you so much, my sister. It's always lovely to have you. And thank you for appearing on Diaspora Weekly with me.
Thank you for having me. Keep up the great work.
You're welcome. Take care.